Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Hello Mary Lou, Prom Night 2. So, um, this this is one of those movies where it wasn't initially supposed to be a sequel. It was like supposed to be its own thing, but the first Prom Night made like an exorbitant amount of money. They made bank, so they're like, hey, let's capitalize on the success of Prom Night, and we'll throw Prom Night 2 on the title, make it a Prom Night sequel. So this is one of those instances because it is like a drastically different movie. Yes, it still you know takes place on like prom night towards the end, and it has the whole prom element going on, but other than that there's really nothing connecting this to the first movie. Like, it's totally different horror subgenre. The first one's more of a slasher. This one is more of like a supernatural possession movie. The stories are different. The characters are all different. So yeah, this is like a drastically different movie, and I went in with the open mind. I thought, hey, I'm not the biggest fan of the first Prom Night, but this seems like it's totally its own thing. Maybe I'll like this. And to be honest, I was not a fan of this one either. I'll get into that later. But yeah, I was not really a big fan of this. But anyways, before I get into all my opinions, I'm gonna give you all a quick little plot summary. So basically, at the start of the movie, we have this prom during the 1950s, like late 1950s. I believe it's 1957. You have this, girl, Mary Lou. She's dating this rich guy, but she kind of is just using him for his money. She's not really attracted to him, so she's like making out with some other guy. Her boyfriend sees them, and he tries to get revenge on her, so he throws this like stink bomb at her, and like the fuse of it accidentally catches her on fire, and she burns alive. So then the movie flash forwards to the 1980s, and the guy, like Mary Lou's boyfriend from back in the day, who accidentally killed her, he's now the principal of this school. So one thing leads to another. Mary Lou is trying to kill this guy and anyone who gets in her way. So she possesses this girl at the school who's like a candidate for prom queen. So that is the basic plot summary. So first, I'm gonna get into dislikes, and then I'm gonna get into likes. So this is gonna be a very simple video. So I mean, all my videos are pretty simple. I turn the camera on and I talk. So but this is gonna be even more dumbed down. So I didn't know it was possible, but hey, I always amaze myself. Anyways, getting into dislikes. Yeah, this movie really dragged for me. I thought it was very slow. I feel like they could have trimmed a lot of the fat. I feel like the pacing could have been tighter. They could have cut, like, this is like it's close to like an hour and 40 minutes. Like, if they cut 10 minutes, this movie would be like leaps and bounds better. It's I'm like a sucker for like 90-minute horror movies, but no, like it just took, in my opinion, like when I was watching this movie, it took so long from them to get like from point A to point B to point C. Like, it took so long for the story to progress, and I like slow burn movies, but this was just like it took so long for things to get going, and there was so much fluff, and yeah, that kind of like this was one of those movies that was hard to get through. Like I had to watch the movie in like 3 sittings. This movie would be very hard to watch in one sitting, very hard. And I was even a couple drinks deep. I was like, well, not, because I finished watching it today. It's the daytime. I wasn't drinking today, but like last night I was a couple drinks deep, and it was like still, like a lot of the parts were still very boring. So it's not good. Okay, and then another point is this movie was not scary at all, and it was very cheesy, which I love a good cheesy movie. I love a good cheesy 80s horror movie. But here's the deal. I was thinking about this right before recording. Okay, so a slasher movie does not need to be scary, in my opinion. And most of the time you go into a slasher movie knowing that it's not going to be scary. There's gonna be like that element of spectacle. There's gonna be like these crazy, innovative, cool kills. You're gonna see these crazy deaths. You're gonna have you're gonna have all the tropes. You're gonna have the final girl. You might have some nudity. You're gonna have some teens. Drinking, smoking. You might have a little comedy in there. Like you go into a slasher movie knowing it's gonna be formulaic, knowing it's probably gonna be cheesy, knowing it's not really gonna be scary. I think that's totally fine. Like a slasher movie, even though some slasher movies are scary, a slasher movie does not need to be scary, in my opinion. But this movie, Hello Mary Lou, Prom Night II, this is not a slasher movie. This is a supernatural movie. This is a paranormal movie. I feel like a paranormal movie or a supernatural movie, I feel like it should actually be scary. Like maybe there's like paranormal movies that are like intentionally supposed to be comedies, but this movie was like a weird blend for me where it was like a supernatural movie, but it wasn't scary at all, and it was like almost like it was like comedic at times, which I did like a lot of the comedy in this, but I don't know, it was just the there was just like a lot going on, and I didn't know what this movie was really going for, so it was just maybe they were just like throwing everything at the wall and seeing what stuck. But yeah, I feel like for the most part a supernatural movie should be scary and a little bit more serious in tone. That's the word that I was looking for. The tone in this is like all over the place, and even though I liked some of the comedy, I liked some of the sequences that were trying to be scarier, it was all over the place. Yeah, so I don't know. And then this movie did kind of rip off some other movies, like some of these practical effect heavy sequences where Mary Lou is messing with the main girl Vicky. They're kind of reminiscent of like a dream sequence in Nightmare on Elm Street. And then later on in the climax, there's a scene that is very reminiscent of of a scene in the movie Carrie. So this movie does like rip off other movies too, but it's like the dollar store version of them. It's like, I mean, I like homages, but like when it's like a blatant rip off, I'm just like, it just like shows the movie's inferiority more. Like if they didn't rip off other movies, you'd just be like, oh, this movie's okay, like whatever. But like you can't like rip off the big boys, because then it's going to show that you're like not up there with the big boys, you know what I mean? Now I'm going to get into the stuff that I liked. The practical effects in this I thought were fantastic. All the sequences where Mary Lou is messing with Vicky I thought were great. Like there's like this like horse statue in Vicky's room, and Mary Lou makes it all demonic, and it's got like this giant tongue sticking out, and I'm pretty sure they did it all like stop motion. That was good. Basically Vicky's in detention and Mary Lou like sucks her in the blackboard, and the blackboard turns into this like almost like pool with a black water. That was excellent. And then actually there was another one, but it's like towards the end, so it's a spoiler. So I gave you the gist of some of the scenes that were like that had like a lot of practical effects. So yeah, the practical effects in this were really cool and really creative. Even though like it was kind of ripping off Nightmare on Elm Street, it was still like for the most part its own thing. I'm kind of contradicting myself, but what are you gonna do? I freestyle this junk. Like I said too, even though the tone was off, there was like some comedy and then some stuff trying to be scary. The stuff that was supposed to be intentionally funny, I thought was good. Like actually, a lot of the dialogue in this was funny. So like there was this one instance where the priest came over and he was trying to warn the principal like Mary Lou's gonna come back, and then the dad, like the priest, he's like, I mean not the priest, the principal, he's like, Father, you've been celibate too long. You're going crazy. I thought that was kind of funny. And then like there's during like the prom sequence, there's this one girl and she's talking to her boyfriend. She's like, you have a drinking problem. He's like, all these lines, once again, I say this every video, I'm paraphrasing, I'm probably getting the line wrong, but I'm gonna give you the gist, alright? So she's like, you have a drinking problem. He's like, I drink and I get drunk. What's the problem? That was pretty good. And yeah, there was like quite a few other like really funny lines, and it was like, you know, it was supposed to be funny, and I thought it really worked. So, you know, I like a little comedy in my horror film, even though I think in this it didn't work overall with the tone. Like the lines that were supposed to be funny were funny, so I did appreciate that. And then the last thing I have here for my likes, I thought some of the locations in this movie were fantastic. Like this movie, like I said, there's these sequences that are like have like a lot of practical effects, and they're almost like a dream sequence. Those have a lot of visual flair, but like just some of the locations that they chose have a lot of visual flair too. Like the exterior shots of the school are like this, like the school they chose is like has like a creepy vibe, like a pretty like unique aesthetic. There's this like church, and the exterior shots of the church are like the bee's knees. It's so creepy. It's got like pretty much like gothic architecture. It's just like all like the night, like all the exterior night shots of the church are so creepy, and they're like perfect for a horror movie. So I did like a lot of the locations as well. But anyways, that was the last thing I have for my likes. So I went through my likes, went through my dislikes. Now I'm going to get into a recommendation and head out. So like I said, I was not a fan of this, so I would not recommend this movie. Even though there were some elements that I did enjoy, I think overall this movie's kind of a waste of time. And you know, even if you are a die-hard horror fan and you want to watch all these like 80s franchises, you know, I mean even though I don't like the first Prom Night, you know, it is somewhat well regarded. I would say stick to just watch the first Prom Night. You don't need to watch the second one. So yeah, that's been my recommendation, and that has been my review for Hello Mary Lou, Prom Night 2. Thank you all very much for watching, and peace out.